my kids said to me. "Dad, we think it's time for you to move into Oakwood Manor. You'll be safer there." I remember those words like they were yesterday. They cut deep. I felt like I was being pushed out of my own home, like I was a burden to my family. My name is Walter. I'm 78 years old, and I've learned a thing or two about life, love, and regret. If you stick with me, you'll hear a story that'll teach you one important lesson, that sometimes the hardest things to do are the things that are best for the people we love. I grew up in a small town called Willow Creek, back in the 1950s. It was a beautiful place, surrounded by rolling hills and fields of corn that stretched as far as the eye could see. I met my wife, Margaret, in high school, and we fell deeply in love. We got married, had 2 kids, and built a life together. But as the years went by, I started to notice that Margaret was struggling with her health. She had diabetes, and it was getting worse with each passing day. I tried to take care of her, but I was working 2 jobs just to make ends meet. I was stressed, overwhelmed, and I didn't know how to manage it all. One day, I had a fight with my son, John, and I said some things I regret to this day. I told him that he was lazy, that he wasn't doing enough to help his mother. But here is what I never told anyone: I was taking my frustrations out on him, and it wasn't fair. As Margaret's health declined, I became more and more withdrawn. I stopped going to church, stopped seeing my friends, and stopped taking care of myself. I was so focused on trying to save my wife that I lost sight of everything else. And then, one day, she passed away. It was like my world came crashing down around me. I was devastated, and I didn't know how to go on without her. But here is what I never told anyone: I felt guilty for not being able to save her. I felt like I had failed her, and that I had failed myself. I started to question my own worth, and I wondered if I was still needed in this world. My kids, John and Emily, they tried to be there for me, but I pushed them away. I didn't want their help. I didn't want their pity. I just wanted to be left alone. As the years went by, I started to realize that I was struggling to take care of myself. I was forgetful, I was losing my balance, and I was in constant pain. My kids would come to visit me, and they would try to help me with my meds, with my laundry, with my cooking. But I would get angry, I would yell at them, and I would tell them to leave me alone. But here is what I never told anyone: I was scared. I was scared of losing my independence. I was scared of being a burden to my family. One day, John sat me down and had a long talk with me. He told me that he loved me, that he wanted to help me, and that he thought it would be best if I moved into Oakwood Manor. He said that I would be safer there, that I would have people to take care of me, and that I would have friends to talk to. But I was stubborn, I was proud, and I didn't want to give up my home. But here is what I never told anyone: I was tired. I was tired of fighting, I was tired of struggling, and I was tired of being alone. So, I agreed to move into Oakwood Manor. It's been a few months now, and it's been a difficult adjustment. But I've met some wonderful people here, and I've started to realize that I'm not alone. I've started to see that my kids were right, that they did this for me because they love me, and because they want what's best for me. The hardest thing for me to do was to let go of my pride, to let go of my need to be independent. But I've learned that it's okay to ask for help, it's okay to need people, and it's okay to not be alone. That's the lesson I want to share with you, that sometimes the hardest things to do are the things that are best for the people we love. My kids said to me, "Dad, we think it's time for you to move into Oakwood Manor. You'll be safer there." Now I understand why they said that, and I'm grateful for their love and their support. If you're still with me, thank you for listening to my story, and I hope you'll subscribe to my channel for more stories about life, love, and wisdom. As I look back on that moment, I realized that my children's words were not just a suggestion, but a culmination of their own journey, a journey of watching me struggle to come to terms with my new reality. They had been my rock, my support system, and now they were trying to return the favor. I remember feeling a mix of emotion, sadness, anger, and relief all swirling together in a toxic cocktail. But as I reflect on it now, I see that their words were not just about me, but about them, about their own fears and worries. They had been watching me decline, slowly but surely, and it was taking a toll on them. They were trying to be strong, to be the pillars that I had always been for them, but it was clear that they were struggling. And in that moment, I knew that I had to make a decision, not just for myself, but for them. I had to put their needs before my own, to prioritize their well-being over my own desires. It was a hard pill to swallow, but I knew it was the right thing to do. As I began to make the transition to Oakwood Manor, I was struck by the realization that this was not just a physical move, but an emotional one as well. I was leaving behind the life I knew, the life I had built with my wife, the life that had been my reality for so long. I was leaving behind the memories, the laughter, the tears, and the countless moments that had made my life rich and full. But I was also gaining something new, a new sense of purpose, a new sense of community, and a new sense of belonging. The people at Oakwood Manor were kind and compassionate, and they welcomed me with open arms. They took the time to get to know me, to learn about my life, and to understand my story. They listened to me, really listened, and they validated my feelings. They reminded me that I was not alone, that I was part of a larger community, a community that was connected by our shared human experiences. And as I settled into my new life, I began to realize that this was not the end, but a new beginning. I started to participate in the activities, to join in the conversations, and to form new relationships. I found solace in the routine, comfort in the familiarity, and joy in the simple things. I discovered that I was still capable of growth, still capable of learning, and still capable of love. And as I looked around at the people who had become my new family, I knew that I had found a new sense of purpose, a new reason to get up in the morning, and a new reason to keep going. It's been a few years now since I made the move to Oakwood Manor, and I can honestly say that it was the best decision I ever made. It's not always easy, and there are still days when the sadness and the anger creep in. But I've learned to navigate those emotions, to acknowledge them, and to let them go. I've learned to focus on the present, to appreciate the beauty in the world around me, and to find joy in the simple things. And I've learned to cherish the time I have with my loved ones, to hold them close, and to never take them for granted. As I look back on my journey, I'm reminded that life is precious, that life is fragile, and that life is fleeting. But I'm also reminded that life is beautiful, that life is worth living, and that life is full of purpose. And I hope that my story can inspire you, can motivate you, and can remind you to appreciate the beauty in your own life. Because in the end, it's not about the years we live, but about the life we live in those years. And I'm grateful for every moment, every breath, and every beat of my heart. As I sit here reflecting on my journey, I'm reminded of the countless people who have touched my life along the way. The ones who have lifted me up when I was down, who have pushed me to be my best self, and who have loved me unconditionally. Their presence in my life has been a gift, a reminder that we're never truly alone, and that our stories are intertwined in ways we may never fully understand. I think about the struggles I've faced, the dark nights and the difficult days, and how they shaped me into the person I am today. I think about the moments of joy, of laughter, and of triumph, and how they filled my heart with a sense of purpose and belonging. And I'm reminded that it's not the big moments that define us, but the small ones, the everyday moments that we often overlook. The smell of freshly brewed coffee in the morning, the sound of birds singing outside my window, the feel of warm sunshine on my skin, these are the things that make life worth living. These are the things that remind me to slow down, to appreciate the beauty in the world around me, and to never take anything for granted. As I look back on my life, I'm struck by the realization that it's not the years that have passed that define me, but the life I've lived in those years. It's the people I've loved, the experiences I've had, and the lessons I've learned that have shaped me into the person I am today. And it's the hope that I can continue to grow, to learn, and to love that fills me with a sense of excitement and anticipation for the future. I've come to understand that life is precious, that it's fleeting, and that it's fragile. And it's this understanding that has taught me to cherish every moment, to hold every breath, and to never let go of the people and the things that matter most. It's a lesson that I wish I had learned earlier, but one that I'm grateful for nonetheless. As I move forward, I'm reminded that life is a journey, not a destination. It's a path that winds and turns, that twists and surprises. And it's the unknown, the uncertainty, that makes it so beautiful. It's the not knowing what's around the next corner, the not knowing what tomorrow will bring, that fills me with a sense of wonder and awe. And so, I'll keep moving forward, one step at a time, one breath at a time, one beat at a time. I'll keep living, keep loving, and keep learning. And I'll do it all with an open heart, an open mind, and an open spirit. Because in the end, it's not the years we live, but the life we live in those years. And I'm grateful for every moment, every breath, and every beat of my heart.